Sure, abuti honestly.
Ladies and gentlemen, patriots, it's another reaction just from the interview done by Sauls, or Mpliza, as we mainly know him as. So here they talk about just the previous uploads that I've brought up, where he was actually questioning the vice chancellors, the CFOs, at the CUT here in the Welcome and Bloemfontein area, right? So I'm sure a lot of you have seen that video, those videos, because they went up to like 20k views, right? So that one is also very interesting. So now they were talking about more broader in the broader sense. So just want you guys to actually listen here, because this will also remind you what was happening, and then we can continue reviewing this interview going forward.
Colored males, Indian males and females are South Africans. You have in that faculty alone combined 2%. If you round it off, let's say 4%. Foreign nationals, 15%. What is the reason for that?
Honourable Member, the common reason really for it is about the skills, the internationalization plan, and the readiness to come and work within CUT or the Free State. It's really the pool that we are recruiting from. I dread the fact that I'll keep repeating the same thing, but we do not dismiss our internationalization policy and the targets there.
Good morning, Arbila, and to your viewers, good morning. That is 100% correct. It goes even further to show that particular intention, apart from the percentages that is obviously public now, in comparison to the preference of foreign nationals over South Africans. I made a specific example of Dr. Mpekwa, who is a brilliant black female South African who qualifies for the position of dean. She has gone through the interview process. She was shortlisted. Then the initial interview was closed, and then it was reopened the second time. This time, including the foreign national. In the first phase or the first interview process, the foreign national was not included. They reopened it a second time, and then this time the foreign national is included, and then the foreign national is appointed over and above a highly capable South African female. So it shows clearly that the intention was to appoint a foreign national over South African. That is illegal, it's wrong, and it marginalizes highly capable South Africans.
And this is the one that, if you remember, the department has said that they do not even know about that appointment, and there's some processes that she had actually skipped. She has skipped those processes, and they described that they were supposed to be notified so they could clear that person, right? But now they say that they are shocked right there in Parliament that when this is now being asked to them, then they say that it's the first time we're seeing this. And that was now also very, very alarming, because how do they then become shocked and actually be like, we do not even know this that you say, and the person is found to be lying in oath in Parliament. Then they reminded that I remind you that you are under the oath to respond with honesty. And then they continue to lie and entangle themselves. Then when they're faced with facts, then they start to act like, no, okay, I will have to go and verify. Now they don't support and say with certainty things that they've already said before with certainty, they now go back on their word.
It should stop.
And that
Absolutely. And we don't hate foreign nationals. They are fellow brothers and sisters. But we need to be clear. We need to prioritize and put South Africans first. We can't have a situation where South African academics, people who has given their lives to study, that has worked extremely hard and qualifies, and cannot get an opportunity in their own country. That is not xenophobic. Us putting South Africans first is being patriotic.
I like that. It's being patriotic. We have to put South Africans first, and South Africans must first be the ones to enjoy and reap the rewards of this beautiful country. Not foreigners coming to come and enjoy what is ours while we are still not enjoying it. And then we're going to watch them enjoy it while we still sit there in hunger, while we still sit there in struggle, while we still sit there in unemployment, while foreigners are being employed. I don't know much about this international quotas, but why do we need to be employing those people of foreign descent? Because we do not need to be employing them. We need to be employing our own. We're having struggles on our own as things stand. As things stand, we are already struggling to make things connect, put food on the table. A lot of the country are still living in poverty, and that is what we need to first. And that is why I support what Ashley Sauls says, that we need to put South Africans first before anything else.
We must be unapologetic about it. We must put South Africans first, especially if they're capable, irrespective of race, creed, culture, social status. We must be clear. South Africans must prosper in their own country. Absolutely, because she was now looking just for a plausible, justifiable reason. But it's clear that it cannot be justified. The intention is exposed, and we should take accountability for it, that we are disadvantaging our own citizens. It is wrong. We cannot accept any justification. The cap is 10%. It was over exceeded, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. If you look at many other institutions in our...
See, so now that there's a cap of 10%, but then why do we even need a 10% cap? Why not at least say 2% cap? We will only maybe say one or two of the most rare of skills. But all of these was that they've already discussed that these are okay, rare skills, but they are there and available within the context of the country. So what is it that we are actually struggling here about? What is it that we are actually struggling here about, that we shouldn't be struggling about?
Our country. The same is happening. It should stop. The question should not be even in our exposing this, because our job as parliamentarians is not to expose. That's not why I celebrate. We haven't done anything yet until we fix it. So the celebration should not be the exposure of this. The celebration should be, what are we going to do about it? Are we going to change it? Is Dr. Mpekwa, is Keenan Jacobs, is the cutest employees that has lost their jobs because the very same leadership has a conflict of interest in their leadership and has caused through voluntary liquidation for 15 South Africans to lose their jobs. Are they going to get their jobs back? Is Dr. Mpekwa going to be appointed? Those are the questions that we should ask. As parliamentarians, we should not be celebrated for exposing the wrong. We should be held accountable to correct the wrong. It's time that South Africans walks around all across the globe and smile, saying that we are celebrated in our own country. That's never going to happen if we tiptoe around this illegality and irregularity. I'm not going to stand for it. My party President Gayton McKenzie, has deployed us to go into Parliament and serve all South Africans.
Yeah, and that goes without a shadow of a doubt. The Patriotic Alliance is against illegality and illegal immigrants benefiting in this country. I think it's about high time, because now we've got this melting pot, this now in the government, and now we're going to have parties like as the Patriotic Alliance come forward with their strength to actually say that we are fighting this system. We've been outside for so long, but now because we've got an actual ability to be in the playing field, we can now go there and actually show the people that no, don't play with us. Do not play with us. Do not play with us. And that is what is the most important, right? That we understand that forever we will be there to be trying to rectify all the wrongs that have been happening from the past. And that now we have an ability to actually have a say there in Parliament. To actually have a say, because we have representation. Patriots fighting for the colors and Indians. But then because for so long there have not been that representation to actually advocate and fight for those rights and actually wrongs that have been done against colors, Indians in this country. They're previously disadvantaged, whereas blacks have been the one benefiting from everything. And then now foreigners are now being given even more preference. And on top of that preference, you then given irregularities that I mentioned of hiring them without following the proper protocols. Think about that. That is what was actually exposed from the Vice Chancellor of the CUT.
We don't intend to step back from that.
Mr.
Your guess is as good as mine, Arabella. I don't understand why we disadvantage our own. The only conclusion I can come to, it is an evil that must stop. How can we look at our own and see them suffer and feel nothing? So I can't tell you what the real reason is. My speculation is it's pure evil.
Evil is a different way of describing it, but can understand where it comes from, because you have to be at a certain level of evil to not want to see your own people succeed, to maybe want to discredit your own people, possibly based on maybe you don't like somebody, have a different opinion on somebody, and that could also be some of the things that bring that evil spirit in somebody, and making sure that they actually disadvantage their own South Africans, to not recognize their own South Africans, but to rather prefer foreigners, people who we do not actually owe anything. They prefer them to be the ones actually in these positions. What has South Africans done? What must South Africans do? We need to start discussing what must South Africans do.
No, there should not be greater scrutiny. As you've seen, we have scrutinized, we've exposed. There should be now an emphasis on changing it, on taking action. South Africans is tired of commissions and committee meetings and things like that. South Africans is calling for material change. We should ask ourselves, what steps are we going to take to change it? If leaders like those of QTIS does not want to be inspired, they must be fired. Our committee chairperson, and I must say all members of different parties that forms the Committee of Higher Education, all of us together are committed to see the lives of South Africans change. So we're going to have an intentional effort to ensure that there's consequences, but it is not even to remove the very same South Africans that are currently holding those positions. No, it is to have a first approach of saying, let us all come together, let us change the situation. But I am saying that if leadership of these institutions does not want to join in and work together to change the situation, then we must take serious steps within the ambit of our responsibility to ensure that such people are removed and replaced with people that has the interest of South Africans at heart, and that will that will use the policies and the regulations in a fair and transparent manner. Those that doesn't want to, all of us, no matter which party you're from, no matter what your affiliation is, as South Africans, we need to all come together. This thing that we compete, who's the best, who's not, should come to an end. Why be the only one when we all can be one? So
I agree. This thing of these people not being held accountable for these irregularities that they keep skipping, these disadvantages that they impose onto the other South Africans, really need to have a level of accountability where people are actually held accountable. If you fail to actually adhere within or around those set perimeters for you, you need to be able to be dealt with harshly, whether you lose your job, whether you get demoted, whether you get suspended, and then those things are reversed. Really need to come to a point where that there's actually certain level of extra oversight to them. There's some maybe there could be committees that are actually going to talk to them more often, because that's the first one that we just see now that they've been exposed. There could be other ways which they could develop, which could always come up with ideas that are effective to go and make sure that these people are actually held accountable. Because now this is one university. You can already imagine just how many other universities are faced with the same matter. They were caught out, preferring to hire illegals, actually not adhering to the rules. But then, how are these people actually being punished? When, with every one of us, when we go to work and we do something wrong, there's a level of punishment that will come our way. A level of maybe a warning coming our way. What are these people actually being done? What is done to them in such situations where they've actually not done things the right way? And it has to be accounted for.
I'm saying that the step should be to fix it, not just to talk about it and expose it, and that's the celebration. The celebration should be, have we fixed it for South Africans? And those that doesn't want to, there should be zero tolerance. They must be removed. We want to better our country, and we want to work with those who's committed to the same cause.
Yeah, so
See, we need to fix this kind of things so that we continue to enjoy and reap the rewards of our country. Cannot have a country bearing so much beautiful fruits, but we're not even tasting a penny.
Yes, it's very discouraging. Students has come to the committee and has complained about the appalling situations that they have to live in, the conditions that they have to live in on the residences, etc. What the little clips that is being seen is nothing compared to what has been exposed. The brilliance of our chairperson, for example, when we went on oversight, he had foresight to see that when we're going to question at that first visit, it's not going to be enough. So he made the call to say, we're going to have a special session, call them to parliament. And that's what the country saw. If not for that move, we wouldn't have been able to expose this. So that has highlighted that it is even worse. There's bigger things that is happening. Like I'm telling you, the voluntary liquidation, that you have a CFO who is the CFO of the parent company, was 100% shareholder of the subsidiary called QTIS, and he's also the acting CEO there. The interim board for the same subsidiary is the entire executive and council members. So they make a decision to liquidate and then they execute it. That's a conflict of interest. It's against King 4, it's against the Companies Act, but nothing is done about that. But now that it's been exposed, we should do it so that we benefit our students, we benefit our South African academics, and we provide opportunity for everyone.
See, like if people are actually doing things that actually conflict of interest like that, those are actually laws against that in South Africa, then they continue to actually perpetrate that. And what was worse was that when he was asked, do you not see this as a conflict of interest? He said no, he does not see it as a conflict of interest, because he mentioned something about being an interim on the other and that can't be left like that. Whereas he does not have to be the one there in that position. There could be other people given that positions? Why are they having double interest on both sides? Why are they having double interest on both sides? Look at that. And how it was exposed was then even worse in Parliament. Whereas even like he mentions the kids, or mention a whole bunch of stuff, things that even the teachers are doing and threatening them, and even then saying that the kids must remember that there's life after university, making kids uncomfortable. And then also one who's got a court case that they are the sole ones who've got the ability to drop the case, and it's up against the students. Imagine wanting students to actually get disadvantaged with criminal records because you just don't want to drop a case against students. That means you're already setting up those students with the possibility of actually being disadvantaged, because now they'll have a criminal record, civil record saying that no, there's civil crime, and then now they cannot work, and then they have to wait possibly about 10 years before that is actually removed from their names. Why are you doing that and disadvantaging certain kids like that? All in the interest of protesting, when they had protested. So we're in the best South Africans, and we really need to fight and save in this country of ours. Salute, patriots. Like, share, subscribe. You know how it is. See you on the next one.
Sure, abuti ownership.